Hello, my name is Sean. In this tutorial, I'm going to take a step further. This video is the third video tutorial of this series, which will allow you to understand how to construct a payslip. Just a little revision. On the first video tutorial, first of 5, we basically constructed our main menu. Then we applied macros, which will allow us to basically navigate from the employees back to the main menu, from a payslip back to the main menu, from a payroll back to the main menu, the rates back to the main menu, and the notes back to the main menu. On the second video tutorial, we basically constructed the employees table, and we created formulas. We created a sum function here, and we created a round function there. Alright. In this video tutorial, like I've mentioned earlier, we are going to work on the payslip. Before we start going through the calculations and everything, we need to basically construct the layout. To do the layout, what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically create a section where my payslip will be displayed. So I'm going to highlight this section here. I'm just going to change the color to white. Alright, so I know this is the section for my payroll. If I need it further down the line, if I needed to increase the height or the width, I will be able to do this, or reduce the height and the width, but I will be able to do this as well. How do I do this? If I would like to reduce it, I'm going to highlight this row below it, and then I can click and drag to basically replicate the rows below. If I would like to actually increase the width, I can highlight the width, and then when my mouse cursor again changes from white to black cross, I can actually click and drag to increase the width, so on and so forth. So in this case, I'm just going to Control Z to undo, or I can actually, let's use this method to basically increase again the height and the width for now. Okay, so excuse me, this is the area where I'm going to have the payslip. So the first cell here, it's going to be the date. So I'm just going to put here date, and I'm going to put column. The next value below it, I'm going to say employee number. So the employee number is basically the number here, the ID number. Okay. The next value will be employee. Oops. Let's change that. Instead of employee number, it's going to be employee name. The next value below it will be the address. The next value will be the town. Next one will be the postcode. Then I'm going to skip a line, and then I'm going to put the salary. I'm going to skip another line there. I'm going to put type. Basic. Overtime. Leaving extra gap, you will see why I'm doing this in a minute. And allowance. Allowances. Finally, I want to actually show the total taxable pay. Okay. Now I've done this, I need to highlight them. Highlight this. In fact, I will highlight this because I only have one gap. I'm going to show all borders. And I'm going to do this, the same here, all borders. All borders. All borders. I've missed that. All borders. All borders. And all borders. Okay. As you can see here, some of the information is cut off. So what I will need to do is double click here on the B to basically increase the width so I can actually display all the information. So for the salary will be kind of a header. So I'm going to make it bold. Same with the date. I'm going to make it bold. And same with the taxable pay. In fact, I'm not going to touch the taxable pay yet. I'm going to show you how to save some time here. I'm going to make it bold here, the date. I'm going to increase the size slightly. And I'm going to change the background color to something else. I'm going to change the font color to something else. And I'm happy with that style. I'm going to double click here on the Format Painter brush. If I double click, I'm locking the Format Painter brush. I can click here once. And I can click here once as well. Excuse me. If I click here again, this means I have deselected the Format Painter brush, or I can press the Escape key on my keyboard. Now I'm going to double click here again to make sure that the full width is increased. The width is increased, so the whole data information shows into a cell. And I'm going to highlight this now and change the background color to something else. Let's make it. Let's click on more colors. Let's play around a little bit. Okay. This will do for now. Okay. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to apply the same colors here. So I'm going to click here. And I'm going to click on the Format Painter brush to select that. And I'm going to click here, because that one has the borders. I'm going to click the Format Painter brush, and I'm going to click and drag. Okay. So I've got the same style here. I'm going to just double click again. Make sure that everything is showing. All right. The next thing we need to do is put the data here. So we have the date here. We want to display the actual date. So I'm going to increase the width here. And I'm going to display the borders. So here it's going to basically show me the date. And then after that, I want to show the pay date. So the date will show me the current date. And the pay date will show me the actual pay date. I'm going to click here. I'm going to use the Format Painter brush. I click here once to make sure that I've got exactly the same style. All right, now we are going to basically highlight, click once, after the word pay date. So we want to basically display the date here. So we want to make this different color as well. So let's concentrate on the first one here. Let's change the background color to something else. And I want to select the border and the background color here. So I'm going to use the Format Painter brush. I click once here. So I'm carrying the style here. I'm going to increase the width a little bit. And I'm going to highlight these 3 cells here. 1, 2, 3. Just going to change the color to grayish. So I'm not going to put any information here. I can always change the color afterwards. The next thing we need to do is we are going to add some headers here. So I'm going to highlight all these. And I'm going to highlight all this. I'm going to make it basically same color as this. So let's actually select this. Use the Format Painter brush. I'm going to click and drag to highlight all this. The first value here we're going to put is going to be the national insurance number. So I'm going to put NI number, colon. The next, I'm going to leave a gap here, and then I'm going to type pay period. So pay period. Then I'm going to leave a gap, and I'm going to put tax code. Here I'm going to copy the salary and paste it here. I'm going to double click here to go inside the cell, or I can select here and go here on the function area and type deductions. I'm going to double click here to make sure that I will increase the size, and I'm going to basically copy this. So copy the style of this. So I'm going to click here once and apply the style here. So I've got the border. And because I want to apply the border on the other two as well, I'm going to click here. I'm going to double click the Format Painter brush to lock it, and I can click here and click there. Click again to deselect it, and this is what I have. So now I'm going to put the national insurance contributions. So I'm going to put employees national insurance contribution. I'm going to leave a gap. I'm going to put income tax here, and I'm going to leave a gap again. I'm going to type company pension. I'm going to make sure I'm going to apply the same style to the other one. So I'm going to double click here to lock the Format Painter brush, so I can actually apply the border and all the style. I'm going to double click here to increase the size. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a gap here, and here on the last one, in fact, I'm going to type total deductions. Spell it. Deductions. Okay. Total deductions. I'm going to apply the style again. In fact, I want to apply the same style as this. So I'm going to select this, use the Format Painter brush. So I've got the total deductions here. All right. And just below the total deductions, I'm going to create a net pay. So net pay. And I'm going to give it the same style. So put this down. Just change the color actually slightly. Yeah. Let's change the font color to something like this. Okay. Right. So now on every single answer, I want to apply this style. So I'm going to double click here the Format Painter brush, and I'm going to apply this style. So this is the label, this is the answers. Okay, use a Format Paintbrush. In fact, that one will be a label. So let's increase the size a little bit. So this label, I'm going to call it amount. So this will show me the amount. All right. So areas that I don't want to basically make visible, I want to gray them out. Or I want them, yeah, I want to gray them out, or I can actually make them black, or I can make them, let's make them this color actually. Let's make it dark like that, yeah. So I'm going to double click here, and I can highlight this. In fact, we can highlight this. Just to separate them, so people can actually focus only on the information given. Let's highlight this. Let's, oops, Control Z to undo. Now, if you Control Z, your Format Painter browser will be deselected. So I'm going to double click here again to locate. Okay, let's put here. I'll put some more gaps in a minute. Let's see. Let's deselect that. Let's put some information here. So Domi's information I'm gonna put, so we can actually afterwards make everything dynamic. So here I'm gonna put the date. So today's date is the 13th of the 4th of the 5th, 2020. So I'm gonna make this dynamic later on. I just need to make sure that I'm gonna create the styles first. So I'm just gonna left align this. Let's center aligner. Make it bold. Increase the size a little bit. Okay. And change the font color to maybe something like this. All right. So pay date. I'm just gonna copy and paste this there. So I know I've got the date. The information is fully displayed. Now the employee's number will be a number. So I'm just going to use the same font here. So I'm going to double click here on the Format Painter browser just to make sure that all this information I'm going to be displayed. I'm going to display it's going to be same size. Okay. I'm going to use this here. Okay, now I've done this. I can put some Domi's date like I said before. So I'm just going to put here 1. So in the employee's name, let's put David Green. The address, let's put Green Road. Town, let's put Manchester. Postcode, let's make it M1900. Now for the type, let's put hourly rate. For the basic, we're gonna put let's put £23. Let's click here. Let's change the formatting from date to currency. So the overtime will be again. I'm just gonna copy this. We're talking about money. It's gonna be currency again. And for the allowance, we're gonna put, in fact, for the allowance, we will need a replication of this. We're gonna put some combo boxes later on. So let's merge these cells together. And let's change the vertical alignment to center as well. Let's put it left like the other ones. Okay. Just gonna highlight this again. I'm gonna merge them. So I'm going to put a couple check boxes here in a minute. Okay, and here again will be money, currency. So I'm just going to put this here, paste. Obviously all this stuff will be dynamically changed. I will show you how to do this. I'm just creating the layout to make sure that the formatting, I'm happy with the formatting and everything else first. Okay, so here I need to highlight all these and merge them, and I'm just going to apply the same style as here. Let's merge them now again, and I'm just going to type here amount, and I'm just going to right align these, because the amount will belong to this cell here. Here I'm going to type total due. So that's the type. So here I'm going to put hours worked. Let's increase the size a little bit. I'm just going to put here the same style. Double click here. Highlight these two. Let's deselect it. Okay, so here we need to basically apply the numbers. So here will be the number. So we need to replicate this. And here, here, and here as well. And let's have a look here. Okay, to simplify this a bit more, to make sure that everything is displayed as supposed to, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click and drag here, and I'm going to merge these cells, and I'm just going to change the background color to something else slightly. I'm going to put a border all around borders, and I'm going to use the format painter brush and do the same for that. Okay, and here I'm gonna let's make this, because this will be a header, let's make it this color here, this color there. So I'm gonna double click the format painter brush, just gonna highlight this, and let's center line them as well. Okay, just gonna highlight this. Okay, I'm gonna select this actually, format painter brush. Let's double click it to lock it. Let's make this same color. Okay. And the total, let's use here the format painter brush. Here I'm gonna basically apply the total here. And in fact, let's change the background color here to this, because this will give me the total. Let's highlight this, and let's right align actually this. Here will be the totals. Do I really need this? I don't really need this. So let's use the format painter brush to separate them. Sorry, the merge, the option to remove the merger of these two cells. So let's click and drag this. Don't really need this. This will show me the total. So this part, the basic, it will show me the total. So hours worked, this will show me. So say for instance, if the person has worked 3 hours, then it's going to show me. Okay, I need to change the formatting here to a number. And let's remove the decimal places. Oops. Okay, so I've got a whole number. So I'm just going to copy this and apply this here as well. Again, this will be changing. So let's say 1 here and 1 there. So if it's 1 times 23, it's going to be 23 pounds. So I'm just going to put here 23. And I'm going to change the format here to currency. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to be talking about currency prices here as well. So I'm going to highlight them both. Right click and select paste. And I'm going to have the number 23 on both of them. So by default, I'm just going to put here 0, 0, 0, and 0 until I get the formulas right. And finally, here will be my total. Just going to copy this again because I want this to be my currency. So I can paste this there, change the value to 0. Okay. Let's change the value to 0, 0, and 0 until I actually make everything else dynamic. Alright, so this section is done. I just need to make sure that these extra cells have gone. So I'm just going to double click here, the format painter brush, and let's see, I put the employee's name. I'm going to have to have it as, let's have a look if I've got two cells here. Okay, as you can see, the name and the surname are on different cells. So if I go on the payslips here, so David will be here and Green will be next to it. So I'm just going to replicate by clicking and dragging. I'm replicating the cell. Now, bear in mind, I'm taking my time here. I'm showing you the common issues that you're going to be facing and how to fix them. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing here, by actually replicating, deleting, adding, removing, changing. So these are the things that you're going to be keep doing until you're fully satisfied with the way your payroll looks. So here, the national insurance number will be number and text. So I'm just going to put here some information. Let's increase the size a bit, the width, by clicking and dragging. Now the pay period will be, we'll put a number here. So let's change the type to number. Let's remove the decimal places. Now the tax code will be text and numbers. The employee's national insurance contribution will be currency. So I'm just going to put here £0. And let's change the formatting here to currency. Same here for the income tax and the company pension. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to use the double click on the format painter brush to lock it. So I'm going to apply this formatting here. So now if I type 0, it will give me this option here if I type 0. And the total contribution, again, this is currency. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to highlight these two cells. And I'm going to paste it. So I've got the currencies there. Alright. So I'm just going to right click here and paste there. I've got the currencies. So I keep consistency on the layout for my currencies. Like I showed you before, if you would like to use a different currency style from accounting, you change it to currency, and this will give you this formatting. So let's go to accountancy for now. So it's up to you how you would like to display it. So here I'm using accountancy, here I'm using currency. As you can see, it gives me the 000. Okay. Right, I've done this now. The next thing I need to do now is basically remove all the excess white space, like I showed you at the beginning of this video. Oops, Control Z to undo. Now, because I've replicated and some of the cells have been increased in size, I might have problems. So you're best off click one of the cells here, double click on the format painter brush, and then click and drag to basically change the color. Because if you replicate it, in this case, you increase the size. Let's format a bit further some options. I'm just going to click here because I quite like this formatting. I'm just going to keep consistency here on the formatting. So I'm going to double click on the format painter brush, and I'm going to change the ugly green color to this color here to make it a bit more consistent. Okay, that looks much better now. So I'm happy with this. Okay, the next thing we need to do is add a couple components. So we're going to go to the Developers tab. If you cannot see the Developers tab, please refer back to the previous tutorial. So with the Developers tab selected, I'm going to go to Insert, go to the Activex Controls, and I'm going to select a checkbox. I'm going to click here on the checkbox. I'm just going to bring it further up here. Just reduce the width a bit, the height, sorry. Okay. And now I'm going to hold the Control key down and click and drag to add another checkbox. Okay, so I've got two checkboxes. I can use the key on my keyboard, or the up and down key on the keyboard, to basically place them in different locations, to a correct location, sorry. Alright, now with the first checkbox selected, I'm going to click on the properties, and I'm bringing the properties panel here. Here I'm going to basically be able to actually customize this box appropriately. So I'm just going to change the background color to, let's have a look. If I can select the palette, let's select this. Nah, transparent. Okay, so this is much better. Transparency. Instead of caption checkbox 1, what we're going to type here, car allowance, so backstyle transparent, and the caption will be clothing allowance. Okay, let's increase the width to make sure everything will be displayed. Let's bring it further down. Let's increase a bit the height, and here as well. Let's increase the width a little bit to make sure it fits. Okay, now we have done this. What we need to do here, we need to apply options that basically will enable us to make this number go up and down. So I need to insert, right click and insert a new row, sorry, new column. Let's make this column a bit smaller. I'm just going to make sure that this is replicated. So I'm going to double click on the Format Painter brush. Let's make this brown because we're not going to use this. Oops. Okay. Let's click here on the salary, click on the Format Painter brush, and this is the amount that we had. So I'm just going to type, get the amount from here, got it, and I'm going to apply the amount here. I'm going to center line it. Let's bring it up a bit. So this means I've got a gap. Let's close this now. I've got a gap. I can actually click and drag. Oops, I can click and drag to replicate this gap. So I've got it here. Now I can highlight all this. I can actually apply the same style. Okay, let's remove the borders. Let's put outside borders only. Okay, let's merge them. Alright, so I've merged them. I've got the outside borders only. Okay, that looks better. So I've got my text boxes, check boxes. Okay, now what we need to do is put some let's put some gap here and a gap there, and I'm going to introduce some more tools here, Activex Controls. So I'm going to use this time, I'm going to use the spin button. I'm going to click and drag. Okay. And what I want to, I'm going to customize it afterwards. I'm going to hold this, I'm going to hold the control key down on my keyboard and the shift key on my keyboard. So I'm going to replicate it and go directly below. Just going to reduce a little bit the size. I'm a bit OCD. Okay, so that's okay. So we've got this. Now I need to customize this. I'm gonna select it, use the properties, and I'm just gonna make the background color. Change the background color to something more appropriate to what I have. Again, you have quite a bit of limitation there. Will be more appropriate. I think yellow. Yeah, I'll just leave this as this color. So I'm going to select the next one and do the same. All right. So let's close this. I think my designing the payroll is done now. So in the next video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to basically automate everything. So all the information will show dynamically onto these boxes. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video tutorial. Bye. Bye.